Thank y'all for tuning in. This is Teaching for the Culture, and this is your host Bianca Goolsby and my co-host Kimberlyn Jackson, and we are bringing you the self-care in crisis. How you doing today, Kimberlyn? How's everything going on your side of the world?
I'm doing okay. I had to venture out again today.
How did
So,
that go?
uh I was ready to come home. It wasn't as bad. So what's today? Thursday?
Yeah.
So it wasn't as bad as it was on Tuesday when we talked during the whole child show.
Hmm.
Um but yeah, I was ready to come home. But I like being home. So that part isn't bad for me. It's everybody else in their hysteria. Like it is really something out there in those streets.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just ready to get back in the safety of my home. I was like, let me go home because
Yeah.
this is
I
too
seen
much.
pictures on Twitter where like police officers was guarding toilet paper. I'm like, is this where we're at? Like,
Oh
is
wow.
this where we're at in the world? Like Twitter is like the go-to for the most instant news because Facebook
Yeah.
algorithm is the devil. I don't know if you've seen it, but Facebook is under fire right now for censoring posts and all of that stuff.
Yes,
Well,
I saw that was happening just the other day.
well, Twitter don't have time to censor posts because there's posts that come up every single second.
Immediately.
So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where if you want to tea, go to Twitter. And I can't believe that they over here with guns and oh, it's
Oh
too
my
much going on.
goodness.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. So that's why all this trauma taking place, these unresolved issues, and people are in crisis. So I'm glad we're having this because I've just seen Facebook and social media just going ham with teachers. Like, what the heck am I going to do? What's going on? And they're panicking,
Yes.
and it's a lot. So I'm glad that you suggested this topic today because, like, we really do need to talk about it.
Yeah, actually, I was feeling like I wanted to do something, but I was urged to do something by a teacher colleague. She contacted me and she's like, ma'am, somebody has got to talk about what's going on because I'm losing it. I don't know what to do. Like, can you please? Can you please?
Hmm.
So I thank her for being that extra nudge to let's say go ahead and do this because um it's a lot. It's a lot that's going on. And I just always want to make sure that we're properly processing what's happening and not getting lost in the mix of all the things because the
Hmm.
hysteria is contagious. So depending on who you're around, you never know. Like it can really just take you down a road. But how are things for you? Have you gone out and ventured out?
So I did venture out. I went to my wife's office to go check the voicemail. I had to fix the phone system to where all of the stuff gets moved over, and that was an interesting time. While I'm talking about that, I'm glad that you asked. Just a couple of rules, folks, for anyone that has issues with voicemails and all that. Okay, rule number one is to please state your first and last name, like your complete name. Okay. Number two is to please state the purpose of your call. Okay. And the third thing, which is really, really important, is to leave a callback number and make sure when you say your callback number that, someone on the other end can interpret that and write it down. Because if not, you're not getting a phone call back. Now,
Yeah.
I can't believe I have to educate adults on how to, leave voicemails in 2020. But here we are.
Here we are. And thank goodness that you're able to do that education. So I see I see people are coming in. So as y'all come in, we do want you to say hey. So we know that you're here. Let us know where you are watching from if you're right here in Tampa and Hillsborough County, or if you are other places, right? Because things are happening everywhere, regardless
Mhm.
of where you are. But we want this to be pretty interactive because we need to make sure y'all are right. Okay, so we do have like specific things we're going to talk about that are relating to Tampa, but then the rest of it is just relating to people in general. So talk to us. Don't just be lurking in the background. We want to
There we
know.
go.
We want
Yes.
to know.
Let us know because we can't see it. I can't see it in my system. So I don't know if you're watching unless you're in the comment section interacting with us.
Right. So I pulled it up on my phone. So every so often I'm kind of glancing over just to see if there's anything that we're missing. But thank you. I see Liz just came on. Hey Liz. So the first thing, where do we want to go first? Let's kind of just do a pulse check and see where everybody is. So we have this cute little graphic. We want you to put the emoji in the comments that corresponds to where you feel like you are right now at this present moment. So, are you at peace? Are you okay? Face palm, I could be better. I'm struggling. I'm depressed. Or I'm at my breaking points. If you'll go ahead and drop that emoji, and if you don't have the emoji, just put in where you are. So, again, I'm at peace. I'm okay. I could be better. I am struggling. I'm depressed. I'm at my breaking point. If you'll go ahead and drop that in the comments so that we can know where you are and kind of support you there. So,
Hey, Gretchen,
where
drop
would
where
you
you at.
yeah, tell us where you are, Gretchen. Because what we really want to do is one, be able to give you all information that we might have in regards to how to process everything, especially as educators with this whole virtual situation. But we also want to get a sense and opportunity to be able to provide some strategies that we can use to keep us in a state of peace if we are not already there. So I see Sharnice. Thank you. She says she could be better. Gretchen says she's at peace. So if I had to use the chart, I would say that I am okay. I guess I kind of venture from, yeah, I kind of venture from being at peace to being okay to could be better. I kind of just go like in that little triangle, depending on what's happening at the time or depending on if I'm watching the news at the present time, or like I said, when I had to leave out today, I had to go get some things taken care of with my car. So it just kind of depends. I'm just kind of in that little triangle there. But at this present moment, I'll say that I am okay. What
I'm
about you?
I'm okay. And I'm just looking at this. I'm in between. I'm at peace and I'm okay. Just because I'm in my little zone. When I'm in my zone, I'm good. There's no problems. But then when I have like the external influence, then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, all right. I don't know how to process that just yet. I literally had to disconnect from social media for a couple hours today just because of the news, the comments. I just had to do what I had to do. Hey, Cobb. So look, while you on here, we're gonna do a mental health check-in. Okay, go ahead and put the emoji that corresponds to how you feel right now. Okay, down in the comments. And
So yeah,
anyone else?
I definitely hear you when you say being in the zone, protects you from everything else. It's always the outside influence that um alters your peace, if you will. So yeah, I totally and completely get that and understand that because yeah, like I said, it's a jungle out there in those streets. So
Yeah.
if you have had to go out there, Lord have mercy, it is really something. Really something. So again, as y'all are coming on, again, say hey, and also let us know where you are in regards to your mental state right now. Are you at peace? Are you okay? Could you be better? Are you struggling? Are you depressed? Or are you, I forgot the last one,
Let's put it up there.
at your breaking points? Yeah. So tell us where you are so that we can kind of tailor what we talk about. So let's talk a little bit about Tampa, Hillsborough County, where we are in regards to processing everything that's going on, specifically for those of us who are in the educator space, but just overall in Florida, in Tampa. Um, so I was reading Sharnice's comment. She said, single mom of six, law firm is allowing me to work from home, but homeschooling all of them and working full time too. So let's kind of talk about this. When you're talking about first of all, many of us are not used to working from home, right? right? So we don't necessarily have jobs that are conducive to working from home. Even as an educator, being an in-person educator is very different than being a virtual educator, right?
Absolutely.
Being, and I can only imagine working at a law firm, like that is totally different, having to do that virtually. So how are we processing things, and what are we doing to get through everything that's happening right now on that side, on the job side? But then on the homeschool side, so we just kind of was like, tag y'all it, take these kids. And understanding that you may not feel prepared to be able to homeschool your kids, what is that looking like? So give us some feedback there so we can kind of talk about that. So you were telling me yesterday, Bianca, about some information we had gotten from the streets in regards to the different the different expectations that there are right now for our kids. I'm trying to pull that up.
Yeah, right now it's people are in a frenzy, and we and some educators are in the crisis mode because they're not really understanding what their expectations are. There's a lot of communication that's going around from different sources, and
Hmm.
unfortunately, it's breaking down the communication. And when you have a district as large as
Right.
Hillsborough, the size of Rhode Island, essentially, like it's a whole state. So the communication piece is really, really vital. And unfortunately, different people are getting different information at different times from different sources, and the validity of those sources may or may not be true. In
Right.
fact, school board member that even talked about having a continuity plan, and I have no idea what she was even referencing with a continuity plan,
Yeah, I
or
don't
where
really
that
know what that
came
means.
from. But that's not on HCPS website. So again, I go back to this. Teachers are frustrated because they do not understand or what their expectations are for the e-learning and having the
Hmm.
availability to do e-learning, and then what would be the expectation for the child if
Hmm.
not participating in that e-learning. And then you have parents on the other end that's like, well, I don't have the equipment for that. I may or may not have the internet speed for that. And even
Hmm.
to, Sharni's point, she's working full time. She's not going to be able to have her internet to be working for all
Right.
her and doing the work that she has to do. So this is something that's really critical when we think about it on a broader scale. And in Philadelphia, they decided not to penalize kids for the e-learning situation because they knew about the inequities that was taking place in Philadelphia. So
Hmm.
maybe out in Hillsborough and Pinellas and different districts around in the Tampa Bay area start to kind of look at that. But again, this is Florida, and we're always behind the curve on every single thing.
Yeah, we definitely are behind things, just in regards to how we've been calling, the timing of things. And it seems like I feel like I'm always trying to give people like the benefit of the doubt and best intentions. So I feel like they are attempting to not cause further hysteria by just releasing everything at one time. But the slow leak is actually causing more anxiety than just saying, here we are, because there's so much fear of the unknown. So that's what I've been hearing from different people is they just don't know, and they would rather know what's going on to better be able to prepare themselves and deal with what's going on. So what I can say is that all we can do is really operate in fact, right? So the facts that we know are that the kids will be out until April 15th. We know that standardized testing has been suspended. We know that school grades are going to just carry over from whatever it was this year to the next year. Turnaround status, all of that is just going to continue on to the next year. That students won't be quote unquote penalized if they didn't take their standardized test. So, for instance, our third graders and then our high schoolers who need to meet those graduation requirements or those promotion requirements. It is going to be up to the parents, from what we understand, whether the child will move on, be promoted to the next grade, or whether they will be retained. So it sounds like that's kind of the parents' call. We did get word maybe yesterday or the day before that we may need to anticipate the school year extending to June 30th. Not really sure what that looks like, but that word is on the street, that there is supposed to be some type of support for our ESC students that have IEPs, and being able to help them make sure that they've met their requirements. Um, let's see what else. So the e-learning thing is just a big question mark.
Yeah.
We don't really have any clarification on that there. And I think another issue is the fact that we're on spring break right now. So I definitely think it would be very different if school was in session, that people are in office and things, are happening. But because we're on spring break, that's an added layer of I don't knows that's going on. So I do anticipate when we get back on Monday that the information will become clearer, I pray, so that people will be able to know. When I say people, teachers will be able to know what we're supposed to do in order to support students and what that's supposed to look like. Um, there was also, they're supposed to be doing something to provide students with some type of digital devices, one per student, from what I understand. But then, as you mentioned, internet then becomes a situation. So we know that Spectrum has opened up their hotspots, but I don't really know what that looks like when you're trying to use multiple devices in a home. So that's going to be pretty interesting to unpack. There is food that's going to be available at 23 sites. So that is one barrier that has been getting worked on. And I think that's all I can think of right this moment.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Okay. So that's where we are. Right. And oh, I see Sharnice. She's saying they're waiting on full directives. They've received an email from one teacher stating they will have to be logged in at a certain time to be counted as present for attendance. They're to pick up a packet from another teacher this Saturday that will include work for the week. I already had to call Spectrum to upgrade my internet speed. We have my one laptop and one desktop. They can't all be on one computer at the same time. So that, Sharnice, is not uncommon, and that's the thing that's going to have to get worked out. So what I can say is that parents are definitely, you're going to have to let your voices be heard and make sure that you are calling and emailing and communicating, because this a lot. I
Yeah.
can't like we can't even dress it up and put
Mm-mm.
lipstick on it. Like,
Mm-mm.
this is a lot. So yeah, we will try to keep you all updated as much as possible so that you know how to handle what's going on. So anything you want to add to the facts and figures?
Mm-mm. No, I'm just thankful for the school board members and the superintendent Addison Davis for trying to communicate. I am aware that Addison Davis sent an email to district employees today, so he is still working and advocating on spring break to kind of bridge that gap. So I'm very thankful for the people working together and the community members and pastors that are working together to also help feed the kids. And I believe that they're utilizing the Heart Bus now, and they created a
Oh,
partnership to help deliver meals to children. That was just recently posted. So I'm really thankful for people pulling together, and we're going to need all hands on deck to really make change for our students, and really make this catastrophe that's taking place a little bit more enjoyable.
yeah. I just pulled up his email. So let me just real quickly give that information for anybody who might be in that situation. So 12th grade students, it says the DOE will be waiving all graduation requirements related to seniors who are projected to graduate this spring who have not met the requirements for Algebra 1 end of course exam or English Language Arts FSA or received a concordance score on the ACT or SAT. The DOE is working with the CDC to discuss future plans for high school graduations. The DOE believes that all school districts will be able to complete the fourth semester on time or the fourth quarter and within the school board adopted calendar. Therefore, the current expectation is to finish the remainder of the school year as previously scheduled. E-learning. All school districts will be required to launch and successfully implement an e-learning continuity plan. So maybe that's where that came from, but that's for us to do. District will work to define roles and responsibilities for for all personnel. Hillsboro's plan is available now. So if you all want to see what that looks like, then you can go over to hillsboroschools.org/coronavirus, where they will have the continuity plan for e-learning. Um, all teachers assigned to students will be required to create assignments, provide feedback, support learners, and give grades. The only difference is that grades will be provided in an e learning capacity, and spring semester grades will be expected for all learners. Colleges and universities are working to ensure students will get credit for dual enrollment classes. Eligibility for Bright Futures will be assessed at a later time. The state will address this issue at a future date. IBAP and AICE assessments are being reviewed with each company to determine next steps. So, what I can say is the best place to get information is to go over to hillsboroschools.org/coronavirus, but that was the email that was sent out today.
And just so everyone can see it, all you have to do is go here, and it's literally the first biggest thing that you see, and it'll take you there. Also, if you go here, you'll have the e-learning and then Corona's information. So you can click on that, and it literally updates. So this was the latest update yesterday. The email was sent to just staff, but for the public, this is all information that you need here, and is updated on the website.
Cool. All right. So now that we got that out the way, for those of you who have joined us since we began, we do want you to do a mental health check-in for us. So we'll throw that back up right quick, just so we can see where everybody is. Are you at peace? Are you okay? Could you be better? Are you struggling? Are you depressed? Or are you at your breaking point? We are trying to just get a sense of where you all are, because we want to talk about self-care in time of crisis, because right now we are in crisis, and we really want to make sure that we're being intentional about our self care. So go ahead and drop that in the comments if you have not done so already. So the first thing that I wanted to unpack, Bianca, is anxiety.
Mm.
Because maybe about the back half of my 2019 was like complete trash, right? And I just wanted to like crawl up in a hole and just go to sleep. And what I realized during that time is that I was struggling with anxiety, but I didn't realize I was struggling with anxiety because I was so used to just being strong and carrying stuff that I didn't really realize that something was off until one day I was forced to like sit still and do what we call a body scan. That I was like, I think this is anxiety. I think that's what I'm dealing with. So do you have any experience, not to put you on the spot or anything, but
Oh
do
no,
you
we
have any
here.
do you
I'm
have any experience with anxiety and
absolutely,
what it looks like?
absolutely. So for me, when I feel that coming up, I tend to kind of shell up, wall up, and kind of distance myself,
Mhm.
and trying to figure out different ways to cope with that, to just
Mhm.
unpack it, being able to communicate with people like someone, a trusted friend, someone that unpack it. I unpack it myself, then I talk to someone that I can trust. Typically it's my therapist. My therapist
Mhm.
is my go-to. So this is the plug right here. Shout out to Charlotte McCullough, and I'm gonna post her website link because she's really impactful. And during this time, she does have virtual meetings. So her office is
Nice.
in Orlando, but I have virtual meetings with her, and she's fabulous. So
Mhm.
speaking with a therapist is very helpful too when I have those moments. But it does come, and I know too. I feel it when it's about to come. I
Mhm.
know when I'm getting ready to have anxiety. Like my body
So
just knows.
And I was just about to say, so I think one of the things that we don't really recognize are our physical responses when we are dealing with stress or dealing with anxiety, right? So, what happens to you physically when you know that you're about to start dealing with anxiety?
So I feel as though like I get tense, like my body gets tense, like I feel something's taking over me. I also have a accelerated heartbeat too,
Mm-hmm.
and I also sweat, and I sweat in my hands typically, and
Mm-hmm.
so when I notice like I start like wiping my hands a lot, I'm like, hey, all right, some ain't right.
Yeah.
Or when I feel my body like, ooh, you felt that? And then I'm like, all right, I know. That's what it is.
Yeah, for me, I feel like I'm drowning. So
Mm.
I just feel like my like so much is going on in my brain, like it's really, really foggy. And I describe it as feeling like I'm underwater. Like I just feel like I'm drowning. I'm like, I cannot put anything else in my brain right
Wow.
now at all. And that's usually, but that is like more like that's a compounded symptom, if you will, because when it starts happening at the beginning, I often don't notice it because I'm always doing something, right? I'm
Mm.
always busy, so I'm just used to like going. So I kind of wanted to bring this up because right now I feel like a lot of us know that something is off, but not necessarily knowing what's going on. And anxiety doesn't always present itself in the way that we think that it presents itself, right? So I think that people think about panic attacks or like breathing in a hyperventilating and breathing in a brown paper bag, like type of thing. And that's not necessarily how it presents itself. So some of the things that you might see if you're experiencing anxiety is exhaustion and chronic fatigue, the inability to be able to sleep, right? So waking up in the middle of the night, and not just necessarily waking up in the middle of the night, like you mentioned about sweating. So waking up in night sweats or like extreme changes in temperature. Like all of a sudden your body is like, oh, I'm too hot, oh, I'm too cold, blah, 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 and you just can't get right in regards to that. Or you may become kind of dizzy and faint. So, again, that feeling, that sense of being overwhelmed with a lot of stuff going on. So, that may even cause you to feel like you're going to pass out. So, like the other day, I was hanging up some pictures and and I kept saying, like, all morning, I was like, man, I just feel kind of off. Like, this is really interesting. So then I was hanging up some artwork and I hung it up and I turned around and I was like, whoa. And I was standing on the stairs. So that was a cue for me, like, ma'am, I'm going to need you to take a moment because you're not acknowledging what's going on in your body. So Catalina was saying she feels like that. Yeah, especially when you get too much information at one time. Yes, ma'am, it can happen. So, feeling faint or wanting to be by yourself, right? Which right now, where we have to be by ourselves, a lot of us may be telling ourselves that we want to be by ourselves, but we don't necessarily want to be by ourselves. We just have to be by ourselves. So knowing the difference between that, like, so it's the isolation and the withdrawing and the not really wanting to do people. Like people are doing their people thing, and I just can't do with people right now, right? So understanding what that looks like. Sharnice said she's been feeling triggered. Yes, heart racing, getting lightheaded, sweats, feeling nauseated. Nausea is another symptom. I was experiencing that as well. So recognizing what is happening, right? And anytime that we're having um an anxiety attack or anything like that, there is an actual physical response that happens.
Mm.
But we have to know our physical response to know that we're being triggered so that we can deal with what's going on, right? So, what I want us to practice is something called body scanning. And body scanning is when you really just take a moment to think about all areas of your body and just get a sense of where you are at the time. So, like just now, when I just said that, I was sitting here and I was sitting up and my legs are crossed. And then I was like, why? So I just uncrossed my legs. Like, in that just, like, why was I just sitting here so tense like that? Right. So it makes you more aware of what your body is doing. So, what I would like to do, we have an exercise that we're going to put up, a breathing exercise. And we're going to do this for a minute. We're going to take a minute. And basically, it's going to ask you to breathe in, to hold, and breathe out. So, we're all going to do it together. Okay. We ready? Okay.
One last time.
Thank you. Okay. How'd that
Oh,
feel?
I feel much better. And if you guys did the exercise, we want to know how you feel about it too. Deep breathing is something that's very impactful and something to kind of clear your mind and kind of channel what you need to channel at the time.
So yeah, y'all tell us in the comments what that felt like for you to take, and that was just a minute, right? So you can do this for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, what have you. But in just that 1 minute, how did that feel? I can say for me, I am not often in the habit of deep breathing, right? So I'm just breathing to kind of sustain life. So Gretchen said that made her feel better. Good. And I think that we have to be more intentional about really taking that time to deep breathe. One thing about breathing is that it's something we can access no matter what's going on. So we don't need any technology to do it. We don't need any type of anything. Right? You know, the lights don't have to be on, don't need running water, don't like nothing. You can actually just do it wherever. So Charnice said relaxing. When you're focusing on breathing and meditating, your brain isn't focusing on stress and the craziness around you. Yes.
Right.
Corey says, I felt a release. Right. So this is the idea. So when you are practicing body scanning, right? So you just take a moment, like just pick a moment, and then you say, okay. So you go from the top of your head all the way down to your feet. So you think about your head. How does your head feel? Okay. Then you come down to your face, right? Because even a lot of us hold tension in our face and we don't realize it, right? So relaxing your eyebrows, like relaxing your lips, right? Going down to your neck. How does your neck feel? Now you're going into your shoulders. So releasing your shoulders, dropping your shoulders, thinking about your arms, your fingers, your fingertips, going into your heart. How does your heart feel? Going down into your diaphragm, to your stomach. How does your pelvic region feel? Going into your thighs, your like every single part, all the way down to the tips of your toes. So, like I told you a moment ago, when I first said that, when I was like, we need to practice body scan, I'm like, oh, let me release some of the tension that I'm, because we do it and we don't even realize it.
Right.
So it's being really intentional about that. And when you are doing the body scanning, you can also do the breathing exercise because it really helps you again to be really mindful. So thank y'all for participating in that with us. Um, we just out here trying to do a little something something for the people, for y'all to be able to feel just a little bit better than when you came. I always say my life's mission is to leave people better than I found them. So hopefully that was one thing that can leave you feeling a little bit better.
Yeah, and we're normalizing talking about mental health and things that really impact us. A lot of times these type of topics are kind of pushed to the side, but
Hmm.
we really have to, like, even with our segment with the whole child, like we have to get to the whole child, but before we get to the whole child, we have to practice self-care and we have to
Yes.
do what's best for us so that
Yes.
we can impact the little humans and everyone else around us.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So we have some more tips that we wanted to give, and we've kind of alluded to some of them already when we were talking about what are some of the things that we should do to stay calm in crisis. Okay, so the first one says slow down. So that's what we just did, right? So intentionally slowing down, taking time to respond versus react. So when we respond, a response is thoughtful, right? So we've taken the time to think about how we are going to actually respond to the situation as opposed to reacting. So reacting, like when people say be proactive versus reactive, like reactive is very just like, I'm just going to try to hurry up and put out this fire, not really thinking, I just know something needs to get done. So let me hurry up and do it, right? As opposed to responding. So what we want to first do is to actually slow down so that we can respond. That's when the breathing comes into play. That's when the body scanning comes into play. So you're really able to make a sound decision if a decision even needs to be made. Because what you might notice is that no decision needs to be made and you just need to sit still. which is a thing.
Mhm.
Okay. So after that, the second one is to stay positive, right? We know that our minds are racing. We know that things can go all over the place, but it's really important to make sure that we are staying positive. There is a silver lining on every cloud, on every cloud. So even right now, the way that I'm working right now is contract work, and I don't know the next time that I'm going to get paid, for instance, right? So I get that. That's real. Like that is not something to take lightly. Like that's a real thing and it's a real concern. However, the positive side of that is that I have some time that I can now spend thinking about some other things that I wanted to do, or I now have time that I can spend with the people who live with me, right? So it finding a positive spin on whatever is going on in a situation. The kids are out and what have you, but I get to spend this time with them. So this is some intentional additional time that I get to spend with them because usually they be at school. So right now they get to spend time with each other because usually they be at school in class, right? So really finding something positive to be able to get out of every situation often helps us to stay calm. All right, number three, never ask what if.
Now
So
this is
this,
a
yes, yes, because our minds can go straight crazy. Like, well, what if this happens, and what if that, and what if the vaccine isn't ready for 12 to 18 months, and what if that doesn't, and what if, so this is what caused me to say I needed to get off social media for a minute, because I was reading and just trying to find out where people are, right? Actually trying to do some research for this. And somebody typed something to the effect of, and you need to have supplies for the next whatever, whatever, whatever. And then I was like, oh my God. Like, and I just felt all of a sudden like, ah. So we can't, like, we have to deal in fact. These are the facts that we know. And this is the response that I'm going to take with the information that I have. Now, when this information changes, then I take my time, I slow down, and then I make my next response. But if we get caught up in what ifs, that is like the breeding ground for anxiety.
Yep.
Like there is no way to get out of it. Have you seen a lot of people with the what ifs?
Oh yeah, and even myself, I have to channel myself and be like, "Hey, all right, now you asking yourself too many questions. Let's go move on and do what you know." Okay, you only operate in receipts. That's what I keep
Right.
telling myself. Only operate in receipts.
Yes, yes, yes. So that is so super important. Like it's so important. All right. So number four is taking care of your body. So I do want to linger here for a moment. So while we have all of our coronavirus snacks and all of the things, right? We don't necessarily have to, like, the kids don't have to go to school right now. Those of us who are not necessarily working from home, but just home, like you don't really have to go to bed at a particular time, right? It's still important to be intentional about taking care of our body. Are you drinking water?
Hmm.
Do you have fruits and vegetables in the house? Are you taking time to get out and take a walk, right? So, vitamin D deficiency is a thing. People up north suffer from, what do they call it? A seasonal effectiveness disorder, right? And it has a lot of symptoms of depression because the sunshine is not there for a large portion of the year. It usually happens for them in wintertime, right? So it's usually very cloudy. They don't have the sunshine. So they suffer from seasonal effectiveness disorder. And a part of that is missing that vitamin D that comes from the sunshine. So we really want to make sure we actually get out, open the window, open the curtains, right? I have really good blackout curtains, right? Like real good. Like your girl can sleep for like 11, 12, because them blackout curtains work. However, I got to be intentional about making sure I'm actually opening the curtains to let some light in, right? If you are going to bed late, then that means that you need to sleep late. So, are you getting your 7.5 hours of rest? It is important to get that right. Are you getting your 7.5 hours of rest over there, ma'am?
So I'm gonna be very transparent with you. I am not, and the reason why I'm not is because just the need is so urgent right now to have these online solutions and these platforms, and so I'm trying to set it up for as many people as I can to serve the greater good. And I know that's not an excuse for me not taking care of myself, and I'm gonna do that. But these people need help, and I just gotta help the people right now. And I'll get there. I'm gonna get some sleep. I'm gonna get some sleep tonight. Um, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
I understand. I definitely understand the need. As you were talking, it just made me think about one of my favorite topics, which is boundaries. Right. So there's always going to be need, right? Things are always going to happen, right? But making sure that you're intentional. So, like you said, tonight, I'm gonna get me some sleep, right? So putting those boundaries in place to make sure that you're prioritizing you, because what I can tell you is that you don't take care of you, you cannot help anybody else. Cobb, why are you changing colors? What's going on? So 7.5 all at once. Yes, Sharnice, that is the goal, to get 7.5 all at once. Because we want to get into that REM sleep. That is when your body repairs itself, right? So yes, that is the goal. So some of us sound like we need to look at our schedules and our boundaries and see how we can align that. So 7.5 is the goal. Um, and I challenge you to do it, especially if you're not accustomed to getting 7.5 hours of sleep. I challenge you to do that for a week, for 2 weeks, and take note of how your body feels.
Mm.
Because this is something else we tell ourselves. I ain't gotta sleep. People sleep. I sleep when I'm dead. That is a lie. That is a myth. You need to rest, right? There are times where you have to intentionally rest. So I challenge y'all to do that. Okay. Take care of your body. Drink your water. Make sure that you're getting some type of physical exercise. You can't eat all of the Doritos and the brownies and what have you and think we about to come out of this the same. Okay.
Right,
Like,
because that corona weight gain real.
it is real. It is really real. So we got to make sure that we are protecting ourselves from that. Okay. All right. What's number five? So number five is limit caffeine, right? So caffeine is a stimulant. And if you're already having sleep issues and then you throw caffeine on top of that, not good
Mm.
combo. It also causes things like excessive sweating. It causes heart rate to be elevated, right? So it causes a lot of those symptoms of anxiety. Um, yeah, April said vitamin D and E deficient. No sunshine leads to my skin becoming extremely pale. Yeah, it's a thing. Like, it's a real thing. So yeah, making sure that we are limiting our caffeine consumption as well. And right now, with you not really having to be anywhere right now, is the time that we may want to wean ourselves off of the coffee and off of the energy drinks and all of that kind of stuff that we usually get in the habit of doing, right? So think about that and
It
what that
saves some
may
money.
look like. Hmm.
Saves some money too.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll definitely save some money. I used to actually sell coffee back in the day. And what we used to say is like people will go to Starbucks every day and spend five, six, seven, eight, $9 a day. And if you just think about how much money you could save, like you're saying you don't have money, but you go to Starbucks every day. So how about we don't? So
Right.
yeah, yeah, it will put money back into your pocket, which can only help right now, right? All right, number six, what we got? Call a trusted friend or mentor, or I'm going to add therapist or counselor, right? So it's really important that we're releasing our thoughts somewhere, because we don't want to be unleashing our frustration on our loved ones. It's not their fault, it's nobody's fault. Right. So we have to be able to properly process what's going on. I feel like a therapist is the best place to do that, just because that is their job. right? Your trusted friend, your mentor may be going through some things themselves and they're trying to be there for you, but that's not necessarily their job. So I just always feel like therapist counselor is the best place. But if you don't have a therapist or counselor, Bianca's going to give y'all the plug for hers. But if you don't have one, a trusted friend or mentor, just so that you can kind of talk about what's going on. So parents who are homeschooling right now, you probably need to talk to somebody because like you woke up and now you're the teacher. Like that is a thing. Um, but have being able to bounce your frustrations off of somebody else and not somebody that's going to take you down the negative rabbit hole. Okay, not that person. Not that
Yes.
that's the person you don't want to talk to. Okay, so you don't want to right now, you don't want to talk to the conspiracy theorists, you don't want to talk to the ones to the hoteps and they're like, see the man doing that. Like no, like that's not who we want to talk to right now. We want to talk to people that have sound mind, that are going to be able to get you back grounded again, right? So you're going to that person to try to be grounded. You're not going to them for them to amp you up even more. And now you get off the phone and now you like, oh Lord, like we're not gonna make it. It's the zombie apocalypse. Like that was not that's not the thing.
You got to know your friends. Know
Yes.
your friends.
Yes, they all serve a purpose, right? So this trusted friend or mentor is the person that can help you to be grounded, to calm down, to properly process all of the thoughts and feelings that you're having so that you are able again to respond and not to react. Okay. Catalina says she talks aloud in her house to herself. I talk to myself all the time. I give amazing advice. I'm really great. But sometimes I need to talk to somebody else because, my advice is my advice. And even though it's stellar, sometimes I need to hear another word from someone else. So identify who that person is. Who is that trusted friend or mentor that you have, therapist, counselor that you can talk to during this time so that you're able to process everything. All right. Number 7, disconnect.
Ooh.
We both talked about this. So what did you do to disconnect?
So I'm glad you asked, and I'm going to ask you the same question. But see, I have this thing here. I'm gonna unravel it so people can see what this is. This is Sage. Okay,
Yes.
this is Sage. This is from Blue Sage Boutique, and I will post her website link. And she's still accepting orders and processing orders from her house and sending it to the people. But me disconnecting is me grounding myself, removing
Mhm.
myself from social media, removing myself from things and objects that distract me, and
Mhm.
literally setting my intentions and kind of figuring out what is going to be best for me right now during this time, and making sure that I'm not, I'm responding and not reacting to
Yeah.
your point. And I think that's really, really vital. But social media is something that, I investigate, I study, like this is my
Mhm.
job. And sometimes I have to pull away because of the things that I see.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be, I hate when I'm desensitized to certain things because of the just constant things that take place. But that's
Mhm.
how I disconnect. I just
Mhm.
kind of pull away, get my sage, set my intentions. What about you? What do you do?
So I did a few things. So one of the things that I have come to know is my home or my closet is a reflection of my mind. Right. So when I say that, when my mind is cloudy and busy and cluttered, so is my space.
Mm,
So what I did to disconnect is I put my phone down. I put on some jazz music because that gets me in a very calm place. And I cleaned, right? So I had clothes downstairs that need to be upstairs, shoes not in the thing by the door. Like I cleaned everything. Then I had some decorating ish that I needed to do. So I hung up my artwork that I had just purchased that had just been sitting down. I organized my desk the way that I wanted it to look. I was really intentional about organizing my space. I put in new wallflowers. So I just came across this amazing scent that I absolutely love on Bath and Body Works. And it's what is it called? Vanilla and patchouli. And
mm,
it just makes me so happy, right? So smells are a thing, right? Like having a warm, inviting, welcoming welcoming smell, and that looks very different. I usually don't like things that smell like food at all, but this is so comforting to me. Like I really love it. I found it in a body oil, and then I was like, I got to buy all the things. I bought the wallflowers, I bought the candles, like I just bought them all. But every time I walk, so even right now while I'm sitting here, I've been smelling it the whole time, and it's just so comforting. So I did that. I replaced my wallflowers around my house so that I was able to have that smell around me. And yeah, I had to put my phone down. Like I just had to put my phone down. I turned I listened to the music on the TV, so I intentionally would not be watching TV. Um, and really just took some time to think about what I needed. Oh, I also painted. So I
Ooh.
and I haven't done that in a really long time, right? So I had started working on this painting maybe about 3 weeks ago, and I just really needed to add some more layers. So I actually was like, you know what? I'm going to actually finish these paintings. So I did that. So now I have two new paintings to hang over my bed because that was the whole point of making the paintings, right?
Oh.
So that's what I did to disconnect. And I had to be really, really intentional about that because it's almost like a series of steps that I take when I'm doing that, right? So it has to be clean, has to smell good, like have to have the music, and then what brings me to my happy place? Painting, organizing, decorating. I know that's weird, but it does. So so yeah, so that's what I did. I went to my happy place. And we're actually on our next show of the whole child. We're actually going to talk about like a self-care plan of
Mm.
what that looks like to have a self-care plan. That's a part of my self-care plan. A part of my plan is okay, what are you smelling? What is around you? Like all of that. So I implemented my self-care plan and then I disconnected. And then I also chose not to answer the phone for certain people
Mm. Yeah.
because I just don't need you clogging my peace right now. So I literally was like, nope, not doing it. Not even doing it. Nope. I don't care. Do not. Sometimes I put my phone on do not disturb. Nope. I'm just
Yes.
not available. I'll holler at you when I holler at you.
That do not disturb is clutch.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, because I
clutch.
don't even see the doggone notifications come up. I don't even see it. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing. I just love it. So yeah, so that's what I did to disconnect. You all drop in the comments some of the things that you do to disconnect because some of us may need some ideas about what that needs to look like. So y'all drop those in the comments. What's number 8? I was just talking about this. So, develop a coping strategy, right? So, we talked about body scanning, right? So, we talked about figuring out where you are. We talked about the breathing. We talked about talking to people, right? So, a coping strategy is literally what we're going to do on our next show. Like, we're actually going to walk through the process of actually creating one because it's a systematic process. But having some type of strategy, because basically your coping strategy is when things get to be too much, what do I need to do to bring myself back down? What do I need to do to get myself together?
Mm.
Right, and knowing what that coping strategy is so that you are really able to implement it. It's almost like a fire drill. So the reason that we have fire drills is because when the fire comes, we don't want to be thinking about what it is that we need to do now that the fire is here. So it's almost
Right.
like muscle memory, right? So we're like, okay, like for instance, if you catch on fire, you're supposed to stop, drop, and roll, right? Everybody knows that. Stop, drop, and roll. So hopefully, if the day ever comes that you wind up on fire, you don't start running. Like you need to stop, drop, and roll. It's the same type of thing with a coping strategy. So when you have your coping strategy and you know, oh my gosh, that should automatically activate. These are the things that I need to do.
Yeah.
Right?
And it goes back to what you were saying. You are actually responding instead of reacting.
Yes. Yes. Oh, because you know what would happen if I reacted? Because we didn't talk about this. Some of the things you don't need to do. Y'all, I love me some Moscato. Let me tell you how that whole bottle would be gone every night. It'd probably be one every night. I'd just be a wino on the corner because I love Moscato. But that would be me reacting, right? So I need to respond. Like I have to intentionally say, so you're not going to drink right now during this time because I don't ever want to get in the habit of becoming dependent on some type of outside substance. So whenever I'm all crazy and stressed, I don't drink. I
Mm-hmm.
don't drink. I don't have any snack, right? So I'll say, I love banana twins. It is so silly, like Little Debbie banana twin. I've loved them since a kid, and I rediscovered them as an adult.
Oh.
Wow, I will eat the box. Do you hear me? The box.
Ugh.
So guess what can't be in the house? I cannot. I can't
Right.
do it. Cause they will go down. Like they don't stand a fighting chance. You hear me?
It's going down.
I'm trying to tell you. So they are not a part of my coping strategy. Instead, I had to make sure I went to the store. I got some watermelon. I got some apple slices. I got some carrots. Like because I have to intentionally make sure it's not even available because I can't deal. So I see some of the things y'all put over here that you just connect. Catalina says she organizes. Girl, I love organizing. Let me tell you, I actually had an organizing business, like organizing people's closets. I just love it. It makes me so happy inside. Dina said music and wine. Hey, Reverend Dames. Reverend Dames said he loves to fish, mostly deep. I hear that a lot, especially from men, because it's just you in the water and you and your thoughts. Like, I love that. Dina said taking a drive and singing in the car, but music really helps me. Yes. So, that's when it might be going and just sitting out like on the patio or whatever. Music, I always turn to music. Like there has to be some type of soundtrack for me. But there are times also, and some of y'all might be able to relate to this, like you'll be sitting in your car and you don't get out the car. Like you just feel safe in the car. So I'm going to just sit here in the car. I do that all the time.
Me too. Me too. I
So,
love sit in the car sometimes. My
yeah.
wife be like, are you coming into the house? I'm so sorry. I got distracted. I was just in my own little world. I'm coming. I'm coming.
That is so funny. So that's the thing, right? So whatever that safe place looks like, or whatever, however that presents for you, knowing what that looks like. Okay, Shake. Hey, Miss Washington. He says he loves exercising. Yes, I love to dance. Right, so I love to do karaoke. So today, my disconnecting grounding thing was I was listening to Pandora 90s hip hop and I
Mhm.
was playing a game with myself. So I was trying to see if I could name the artist and the name of the song before they got to the chorus. Right.
Ah,
I was doing that. And then when my favorite songs came on, well, then I was jamming because Regulators came on, Nate Dogg and Warren G. That's my joint right there. Oh, yeah. It was going down in the car. The people were
going
like,
down.
is she doing? Living my life. Yes. So knowing knowing what those things are is super important so that you are able to stay grounded. So, yeah, those are our 8 tips. We covered a lot today.
Yeah, we did. We covered a lot. We did.
That was really good, if I must say so myself. No. Um, so, yeah, we again, we wanted to do this extra episode to just kind of provide some in
Yeah.
the midst of everything. It's so much up here energy just kind of going all around and what's not working and all of that kind of stuff. But just to really provide some type of grounding to bring us back to a peaceful place. So hopefully this has been helpful to you all. Let us know in the comments. And if it has been helpful, will you go ahead and share as well so that other people can benefit? Because the more that we can spread positivity, I think the better off that it'll be. We'll have less people in hysteria and hysterics around us.
Yeah. Especially at a time like this, it's really time to really meditate, to really kind of focus because, people are really realizing that, life is not with all the money and the things and it's like about yourself,
Yeah.
you being alive. And I think there's like a realization that's taking place in some people right now that, hey, there's something bigger than me and it's not,
Hmm.
something that I can control. There's not
Right.
enough money that can control this. This is impacting different countries. So this is not just, oh, I have all the money in the world, so this
Right.
doesn't pertain to me. This is not my issue. Well, this is everyone's issue.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
bridging that gap. So I definitely appreciate you and bringing this knowledge and bringing this wonderfulness to this platform. And if you guys need a life coach, Kimberly is your girl. Go to Kimberly. I'm gonna link her website and her information, and reach out to Kimberly because Kimberly out here in the community just trying to help people relax and just kind of redirect and guide you. So shout out to you, Kimberly, for everything that
Thank
you're
you.
doing. And like I said, I'm gonna link your website and everything there so people can find you. If you need a life coach, Kimberly is your girl.
Yeah, holla at me. And follow me over on Instagram at Kimberlyn J. I do quite a few things. So I'm here. I have another talk show that I do. We have our show, The Whole Child. And again, that is going to be not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after. We're going to actually be developing self care plans. So you definitely want to be on for that because, again, if we don't take care of ourselves, how can we take care of these children? As Bianca said, yes, I am a life coach. I specialize in helping people to discover their God given purpose. So I have an 8-week online curriculum that you can check out. But this is what you get. Like this is me. This is it right here. So I keep it real, but it's all from the heart of making sure that we are the best version of ourselves. Like I said, my goal is to leave people better than I found them. So hopefully today we were able to do that for you all. So holla at me over there. I see you, Dina and Sharnice. Holla at me over at Instagram, or you can get me on my website, which is KimberlynJackson.com, or you can find me on Facebook at Kimberlyn Jackson.
So with that, folks, I think that this was a great episode.
It
A couple
was.
of church announcements before we get off live. So I have just finished recording the social media underground. The episode is going to be launching at 8:30. So after this, there's another program
8:30
that
tonight.
tonight. It's
Okay.
ready. It's ready. It's ready to rock and
Yes.
roll. And then the second thing, morning tea and allegations. It will be bright and early at 9 a.m. Okay, you don't want to miss it. It's a great show, good time. So I'm gonna get my 7.5 hours tonight, Kimberly. I am,
Yes.
and I'm gonna be ready. I'm going ahead and get this together already. I'm gonna be ready with my wig tomorrow morning.
I love it. I'll be on 9 o'clock is good because that means I'm gonna be able to get my 7.5 hours
There we go.
too.
There we go.
Yes. Yes.
So we love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in to Teaching for the Culture. And until next time, peace.
Bye, y'all.